Well, good day. So I'm gonna do another full crossover episode today. It's when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meet the Fly. So, yeah. So it is a full crossover, but it isn't. But it is. So let's talk about the episode first, and then we'll talk about why I'm so confused after. So, alright, let's go.
Alright, so we start off with the Ninja Turtles flying around on their turtle blimp, and a turtle blimp. This is something I never really thought of when I was younger watching this series, but a turtle blimp? First off, do they have any form of permit to fly this thing in New York City? I kinda doubt that they do, and also, you're ninjas. You're supposed to be inconspicuous, supposed to hide in the shadows, not be seen. And instead you're flying around on this literal zeppelin with your name emblazoned on the side? Yeah, I guess that checks out logically. Alright, moving on. So they're flying around on this thing because April O'Neil gave them a quick heads up that Shredder and Baxter Stockman are on top of a building doing some experiments. And if it's Baxter Stockman doing the experiment, of course it's gonna fail. Which it did. So the Ninja Turtles showed up just in time to see Shredder and Baxter take off.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Shredder's not too happy about that, so he sends Baxter back to Dimension X. And when Baxter goes through that portal, there is this fly that follows him. I guess it just didn't want Baxter to be alone. Like, what a considerate fly. And in his place, Rocksteady and Bebop have been sent back to Earth.
Meanwhile,
April had this Doku plant delivered to her, and she thought it came from the Turtles, so she went to go visit them to thank them and say, thanks, but I don't really think of you guys that way, But there was some bad news with that plant, because when you take a really deep breath of it, it basically knocks you out. The plant knocked her out, and the toxins in the plant could be fatal. So Master Splinter is nursing her back to health, but he's like telling the Turtles, I have to make an antidote for this thing, and the main ingredient is a leaf from a gazai plant. So good luck trying to find one, but you better damn well find one if you want April to live, because the Doku plant is fatal.
another meanwhile.
In Dimension X, Krang is pretty fed up with Baxter Stockman and his constant failings, so he's like, screw you, man, I'm gonna toss you into the disintegrator unit and you're gonna die. Pretty hardcore. So Baxter is tossed into this unit, and that little fly buddy of him kind of flew in there as well. That fly is really super considerate. But Krang's not so considerate, as he turns on the disintegrator unit to end Baxter. So far it was working well, but for some reason, he doesn't get disintegrated. The fly morphs with Baxter and he turns into a humanoid fly mutant. This is the worst disintegrating unit ever freaking made. How does that even make sense? It can only handle one object at a time? And if it was disintegrating everything in that room, wouldn't it just disintegrate everything in that room? Okay, so if you're at a campfire, let's say, and you throw a log on the fire, it's gonna burn, right? If you throw if you throw a Barbie doll on the fire, it's gonna burn. But if you throw both of them on the fire, they're gonna morph into some kind of a wood Barbie conglomerate? No, right? What? They would all just burn. They had to make the story go ahead, so I guess, yeah, sure. I'll just skip through the logic there. So Baxter busts out of there and he vows vengeance upon those who turned him into a fly. He kind of attacks Krang, but then he takes off to Earth through the portal. As he's back on Earth, he sees the Ninja Turtles going towards some flower shop to get a gazai plant, and he starts attacking them. The Turtles don't know what to do, so they just take off.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Baxter also attacks Shredder, Rocksteady, and Bebop, but Shredder's like, yo man, what are you doing attacking us? And he tricks Baxter and saying, yeah, the Turtles turned you into a fly, don't attack us, man, it's all them. So the Turtles have this amazing disguise to hide the fact that they're turtles, just overalls and a hat. But hey, fools everyone, they get the gazai plant, but of course it gets stolen by Shredder. So they gotta go back to the turtle blimp, which is hidden so efficiently well. So Shredder uses the Gazai plant to lure the turtles into a trap at the city dump, which really they have no choice but to go to. Just as Shredder is about to destroy the turtles, Master Splinter comes in to save the day by driving like a maniac and shooting everybody. That sounds like the most Splinter thing to do, but in doing so, he saves the turtles, he saves the plant, and therefore saves April O'Neil. So the day is saved. Oh, and well, yeah, I guess Baxter fell into his own trap of moving a millisecond in the future, so he's always out of phase with time, and well, he's gone. But that's where our fantastic story ends.
Well, yeah, man, that was your decent kind of run-of-the-mill Ninja Turtles earlier on episodes there. Not too shabby, not too horrible, but for a new character of origin, yeah, pretty darn good. So I know earlier I was kind of harping on the whole point of the turtle blimp and how, logically it makes no sense, but it makes perfect sense, of course, because obviously one of the main features of this show is merchandising. Well, entertainment too, but merchandising, man, you gotta get money, get paid, right? So having the turtle blimp and the turtle van, that's just more toys to sell. So you're doing pretty good there. And in this episode, they created more toys even, right? You got the Baxter Stockman toy now. And they even introduced a new vehicle for the Foot Clan, the Knucklehead. The more we go down into new seasons, the more we'll get more stuff like this. And it just gets kind of wonky, crazy, less grounded in reality, but it is what it is because that's what it became, just a commercial for toys, so I guess they're doing something right. Other than that, I'll give this one 2 green thumbs up, and let's see what else we can find out about our featured character, Baxter Stockman.
Okay, so first and foremost, I guess let's just get to the original source material of Baxter Stockman's inspiration, which of course would be the Fly movies. We did have the original one in 1958 with the legendary Vincent Price, and the setting of that movie was in Montreal. Kinda wild that an American movie had the movie set in Canada, but hey, pretty good. Of course, in a 1958 movie, when the character turned into a fly, basically he had a giant fly head and a giant fly arm for his horrific appearance. Flash forward to 1986, we got this legendary remake starring Sexy Goldblum, in which at first the character looked fine, but slowly the fly DNA started taking over and morphing with his human DNA, giving him a much more grotesque appearance. So if you consider the Goldblum movie came out in 1986, the episode I featured today came out in 1988. So pretty clearly a direct influence, right? That whole human fly mutation is still fresh in everyone's brain, and you have this kid's cartoon about human animal mutation, kind of a no-brainer to toss in a fly character in there. So let's compare all this stuff together here. All the characters that turned into a fly was a scientist. 1958 was Andre Delambre, 1986 was Seth Brundle, and of course in 1988 it was Baxter Stockman. They all had their DNA morphed with a fly and then mutated into a fly hybrid of some sort using technology. In the original source materials, of course, it was a transporter, and in Ninja Turtles it was a disintegration unit, which makes no sense, but still it was technology. In the 1958 movie, the fly transformation was pretty instantaneous, as it was with Baxter Stockman, and in the 1986 movie, Sexy Goldblum turned into quite a horrific looking fly-human hybrid, as did Baxter Stockman, although he looked much more adorable and merchandisable. So you can see they kind of pulled a bit from each movie for inspiration, so pretty good. This was not Baxter Stockman's first appearance in this series. That would have been the previous season, in Season 1, Episode 3, episode called A Thing About Rats, where of course he was human, and he stayed human for quite some time until this episode. Outside of that, this is not the first appearance of Baxter Stockman as a whole. His very ever first appearance, of course, was in 1984 with the original comics, Volume 1, Issue number 2, called The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vs. the Mousers. And also, that was April O'Neil's first appearance as well. Baxter Stockman was definitely more of a villain, not a mad scientist per se, but he did use his science and inventions for his own good. Didn't get turned into a fly in those ones, but some of his later incarnations did. Obviously, in this 1987 series, as we just talked talked about. He did reappear in the 2003 Ninja Turtles series, where he was more of a punching bag for Shredder, who literally tore him apart until he was just a brain and a brain stem in a jar. Like, oh my god, that's almost more horrific than becoming a fly. In the 2012 Ninja Turtles series, he was forcibly turned into a fly with a mutagen necklace, and took a bit more of an appearance from the 1958 movie, where it was a big fly head with a big fly arm. So nice that they're still referencing the source material. Baxter Stockman would make his live movie appearance in the 2014 Ninja Turtles movie, where it was more of a minor role, almost kind of a cameo, played by K. Todd Freeman. Of course, he was replaced by Tyler Perry in the 2016 sequels Out of the Shadows, and the Baxter Stockman character was much more flushed out. Tyler Perry has mentioned if there was a third Ninja Turtles movie in that series, his Baxter Stockman would have been turned into a fly in part 3, but unfortunately those two movies didn't really do so financially well, so that whole idea was scrapped. But there was another movie with Baxter Stockman, Batman vs. the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where of course Baxter Stockman was a fly, but then again, like, everybody was mutated in this movie, so it must be insane for him not to be a fly in that one. So it's pretty good to see that this character, Baxter Stockman, is impactful enough and popular enough to keep popping up in every incarnation of Ninja Turtles kind of going forward. One of the classic villains of the entire Ninja Turtles, I guess, overall saga? Well, I guess not really a saga, because it's all remakes and reboots, but you know what I mean. So rest assured, next time you see a new Ninja Turtles cartoon, movie, TV show, whatever, you will see Baxter Stockman. So that's good on him, and good on the original movies. Man, if you haven't seen those original ones, man, like, do it. Some fine cinema. And other than that, I guess that's that. Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.